All right, I think. All right. Namaste. Welcome, everyone. Happy day. This is a interesting day because it is 22. And so I like things that are two-twos. And of course, last year we had 22-22, but this is 22-23. So that's kind of nice. Happy 22-23. And welcome to the Spiritual Weather Report. Akasha here. Hi, ladies. Hi, Lucille, Sylvia, and my Tracy from Jamaica. I saw that you put your name there. And all right, so let's go ahead and dive into the things that are happening in the next week as we exit August and enter September, leave Leo, enter Virgo. Ooh, those are really different. My mom's a Virgo, so I know. And we're going to dive into letting Mercury retrograde speak and then have our meditation. So welcome, everyone. Let me just hop over here so we can see everything we need to see. Are you seeing my screen? You are, okay. Not the most elegant way of doing this, but that's okay. Isn't it awesome? Think about in the past how we communicated compared to how we get to communicate now, right now, in the moment. All right, so welcome, and thank you for joining me on the Infinite Show. I am super happy to be here with you. I'm super happy to be a part of this moment in time. So I feel like we're walking together, you and I, everyone that you connect with. There's many different realities and many people I will never connect with because they're just not in a reality that is a part of mine. And I'm not being critical. It could be somebody who likes to watch football, and I don't track it. I don't know it. It's just something that's in another timeline. So you and I, though, we're here together. We're interested in communicating, right? We're interested in communicating and understanding and deciphering and solving the mystery of ourselves, of our life, of why we're here. And I love the Spiritual Weather Report because for me, when I began to start to pay attention to, well, what are the things that are affecting me or that I'm allowing myself to be affected by? Because I didn't like feeling out of control or emotional in overwhelm or feel like anybody or anything could happen and it would just smack me down or feel like I was never going to find peace or happiness again. Whatever it is, then I wanted to know, well, what's underneath that and what's underneath that? And is there an easier way? Is there a faster way? Is there a more fun way to do things? So today we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde speaks. We're going to I have at least 2 other shows about Mercury retrograde, and I'll have Donna, if she hasn't already, put them in a particular playlist. So make sure you subscribe and click notifications so you know when we go live. And below should be the links to the main things that we're doing right now. We have a Greece retreat, woo, ancient Greece, coming up very fast, sudden manifestations. So if you're interested to walk the sacred way with me, pop into that link. There's a dolphin retreat in December and March of next year. And we've got all kinds of other goodies going on right now. We have our new Sacred Spirit Guide Circle, which was really wonderful last night. And Sylvia here got a reading, and we all got amazing healings. And wow, it was really, really, really juicy. I woke up with a big smile on my face. So, however, you also can find below, there's a bunch of playlists, and you can find one that has more information about Mercury retrograde. All the spiritual weather reports are in one playlist, and all the multidimensional meditations are in another one. Okay, so let's dive in. This is, we are coming on to tomorrow. So we're, in the shadow phase, and we've been in the shadow phase for a few days of Mercury going retrograde. And we are it's going to reach that peak point, so to speak, of appearing as if it's going backwards. And we're just interested in the energy. Nothing's actually, well, that's not true. It's not actually going backwards. Mercury, it's our perception, it's our relationship to each other. So this is a really great opportunity since Mercury is a messenger, right? And it's is a messenger of the gods. So what does that mean? That means soul guides? Sure. That means celestials like the moon speaking to you? Absolutely. How about the earth or crystals or the wind or the land or the trees or your dog or your phone can talk to you. And I mean, more than just like what could come through. It could be a message that's spiritual guidance. And we're allowed to have spiritual guidance all the time about everything, by the way. It doesn't have to be just when you're on a mountain with some monks or something. This is how we're meant to live. And so as we are moving into something that has the energy of a retrograde, we're going to just review quickly today what that means so you can tune into it. And then we're going to give Mercury, or Hermes as the Greeks called this planet, both based on the same god. The Romans have, thank goodness for the Romans, because they copied everything from the Greeks. They loved the Greeks. They modeled everything after the Greeks. Almost every surviving statue we have of ancient Greece beauty and wisdom is a copy that was made by the ancient Romans. So thank goodness. There's, just amazing art that they were able to preserve because they completely mimicked this incredible culture. So Hermes is Mercury, same. We really have agreed on calling the planet Mercury, okay? But I'm talking about the god or the essence or the personality of the planet. So we could get caught up in, Googling and saying, oh, what does, and I highly recommend this if you don't have a clue, what does Mercury mean in astrology? What's the energy of Mercury, or what's the energy of Mars, or what's the energy of Venus? And it can be very helpful to you, which is why I'm giving this to you in real time. Instead of going, oh, here's a course on astrology and you can learn everything. Do you really want to learn everything? If you do, fantastic. There's some amazing teachers out there. It's not me. However, if you want to know something you can apply to your life right now, today, that is going to help you today, that is going to give you understanding, it's going to give you preparation, because when you say, oh, okay, we're going into a retrograde or we're going into an eclipse, we have an eclipse coming up on October 14th. For me, because of my chart, it's quite a powerful one. So that means, where does it hit in your chart? However, eclipses are always a new direction and quite powerful for pretty much everyone. So plan not to travel on the 14th, if at all possible. I'm in the position of looking at having to travel on the 14th, so I am choosing a different day. I'm either having to go early or stay longer, and then look at the energies around that, because I don't want to accelerate, put myself into, it's kind of like the hurricane that just hit San Diego. And we're going to do a blessing. I think it's part of what Mercury Hermes wants to talk about today, because they were like, we want to speak. And the weather, San Diego hurricane, we have fires in lots of places. I know Sylvia here has been breathing smoke, and Hawaii, and it's quite honestly crazy. It's very crazy everywhere except where I am at the moment. So what we are doing is understanding that these are energies and they're around us. So it might be like a big truck goes past you really fast, and it does that sucking thing, and then your whole car kind of goes whoosh, 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 right back and forth like a huge wave of wind, a huge wave of air is activated, and you can feel that air. That's a little bit like coming closer to these events. You feel them more. They have more of an impact on you. You don't know how they're going to show up for you. So what we have right now is that we're going into Mercury retrograde, and it's the shadow phase before is when it starts to slow down, okay? So if you were watching it like a satellite going across the sky, if you were watching it, it's just going da-da-da-da-da, normal, staying at the same speed, and then you notice it starts slowing down. And it does that actually, I think, for a few weeks, very, very imperceptible at the beginning. And now that shadow phase is almost complete because this is the day before, and we're almost not moving at all. So the cool thing to me, about the 3 days around the day of retrograde, and this is true for any planet that goes retrograde, Mercury goes the most often, and therefore has the most effect on our daily life, like the moon's changing all day very quickly every 30 days compared to all of the other beings that we're dancing with here. So now the shadow phase, as it's called, it sort of slows down. And now we have the 3 days, the peak day and the 2 ones around it, where it's almost like you just slowed something down that's very, very heavy, going very, very fast. And it's sort of, you've stopped, but it sort of keeps going because of the energy moving forward, like, the momentum is carrying it forward. And now we're sort of like, it's that moment where you sort of come, doom, 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 doom. I always see those balls that go back and forth, hitting each other, and then they slowly smaller and smaller, and then there's that moment they just hold still. So we're in a stillness moment, and I want to acknowledge that as an energy that isn't talked about really. It's always go look things up and say, oh, this means this and this means that. It's a great starting point. However, you're an awakening intuitive that is remembering you communicate with all different realms, many of realms that are beneficial for you. You don't need to talk to all of them. And you want to wake that up. You want to understand that there's personal meanings for you. There's meanings beyond what we've understood, what other people understood, that you have your own unique vision, and that right now you will see, sense, and receive something no one else does. That's just the way it goes. And so it's important and profound. Take this day, today, tomorrow, the next day, the 3 days, as that slowing down moment, that moment when you're going boom, 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 like those little balls. You feel like, let me go back onto my, let you say hi. I don't think you can see me when I'm showing my screen. You know those balls that are on the little thing and they're going bink, 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 and they're hitting each other, right? And they go back and forth and they start to slow down. And then they have that moment where they just go, and it's that heaviness, that weight in there. So use this right now, the beginning of Mercury retrograde. Now also, we're joining a lot of other retrogrades right now. So it's not like we're just, we haven't had retrograde in a while. We're in Venus retrograde, which we've talked about a lot, and a bunch of other ones. Give me a sec. Thank you. So we're in the stillness moment. Now we're going to start to pick up speed, right? So that big heavy thing that was like, boom, boom, boom. And it's like taking a breath and moving forward. So what I recommend you do is think about Mercury, Hermes, as a person, a personality, as an essence, as a guide, as a being, as a friend, as a wise mentor, okay? Because every planet, every stone, sorry to show your butt, every stone, everything has its own aura, has its own spirit, has its own light body, has its own energy field, has its own person, has its own design. So therefore it does the things it does. You know, the stone heals what it heals or helps what it helps because of its particular unique makeup. So Mercury and Hermes are the messengers. So we're doing all these messengers in the Intuition Awakening Summer School, and it's so much fun. You can still join. You can get it. And we just did color this week. Oh, it's just last week. And so what happens is you start to realize everything is a messenger. However, I call it a messenger. It's a spirit guide. It's another flow of divine energy. There's a lot of ways of expressing what things are. So I like to see it as a being with a beautiful personality, and sometimes it embodies it's right here, it's embodied, but maybe this turns into a big goddessy like woman in a flowing gown, carrying roses in her heart. That's what I'm seeing right now, like actually one big light pink rose just opening and just radiating love in every direction. So that was a communication from rose quartz to me. Thank you, sweetie. This is a special mystery school one as well, has special programming. That was really lovely. To just another way of me connecting. Maybe I notice it more. Maybe I feel it more. Maybe it reminds me of something. Maybe the medicine in seeing that image, of feeling that message, I don't understand it, but I just go, wow, thank you. I know it means something and it's going into me. And that's a connection to a stone that is light, color, crystal, and earth, okay, all those things, and wisdom, very ancient as well. So Mercury is a planet that has a personality. And Hermes, they had the little wings on their feet or on their caps. They were the messenger of the gods, but they were part of the pantheon and a main part of the pantheon. It wasn't like they weren't a god. They were. And so these had brought messages from the gods. You can think of that then as the one messenger that's like your personal assistant, bringing you messages from a variety, right? Maybe from the elves, maybe from the oceans, maybe from the unicorns, maybe from the monkeys, right? Maybe from the dolphins, and maybe from the rain and the crystals and anything, everything. It's all alive. It's all beautiful. We're here in a playground of friends that want to play and heal and co-create. And we're walking around with this tunnel vision about, ooh, poor me, and all this stuff that happened. And I'm having, wow, a wackadoodle I had a week. And my family is just all a medical mess. And it's just not really, it's just lots of things that could be very stressful. So I feel incredibly blessed that I know that I'm still feeling it, experiencing it, but I want to understand what the message is. I want to know what do we do about helping Chris's back, or the baby being beat up and half dead, and and my bite that my hand swelled up, and my cut on my foot that was bleeding everywhere. So these are just some of the messages, okay? And so my body is a messenger, of course. So your body is speaking to you. Mercury is speaking to your body, or to your mind, or to your environment. All right, so the messenger connects you to all of the messengers and the gods. And we can put into that we can connect to Zeus or Athena. You could work with Apollo or Minerva. You could work with Ishel, the Mayan goddess here. All of these embodiments that we call God or goddesses are embodiments of higher conscious beings who can see, sense, and move energy at a different level. So Mercury and Hermes is a pretty darn good friend, because this is the person that has the ear of the gods, that brings the messages from Pan, the god of nature, who then connects you to all nature, right? It could be in this way. You could connect directly to the leaf that just fell next to you, and you suddenly made you think of something. So allow the messages to be still right now, to slow down. They're not stopping. They're going deeper into your subconscious. They're going deeper into your heart. This is reviewing, right? So the whole thing about retrograde is you're reviewing, you're renewing, you're re-reing, okay? And so this is, so give yourself permission to be receiving at deeper levels. Maybe you're feeling it and you don't understand it in your brain, or you're frustrated because you want it clearly written out in a plan, but you know and sense in your chakras or your belly or something that something is shifting. Maybe you had a vivid dream or a profound meditation, or you came to the Sacred Spirit Guide Circle last night and you had this amazing healing and messages and readings and everything. And now you're just like, wow, you feel so connected. Now you're a part of something. And this is Mercury is coming now into retrograde, which means you're going to go back to review things you missed, to renew things that you've forgotten, to rejuvenate yourself, everything with a whatever seems relevant, recalibrate, rewire, renew. And when you're doing this, this is where the messages again are coming from more of a, oh, and you have to also recognize that this is sort of like an extra job. So right now you're moving forward, you're moving along in your day. And now Mercury, your messenger, is always usually out here going, okay, here, there, here, oh, go tell her this, no, don't try again, go over there, go under there, and slows down, sort of comes right near you. And there's a sense of let's slow down, let's talk. And you now have to listen to Mercury and Hermes, who want to take you and say, let's go back and look at that, because what's happening next in your life, you're going to need this and you forgot it, or you should review it, or you should revisit it, or you should reconnect to that person, or whatever. Or, you really wanted to do that and you don't know it, but that's going to close. So we want to inspire you to go back and try it. Right? So then you're going in two directions. You're still moving forward, and you have this big, big part of your life wanting you to look backwards, so to speak, right? However, even though it's more work and it can feel frustrating or overwhelming or maybe neutralized, where like, I don't know which one to do. If you have a lot of kids, you know how I feel, like, it's like, I got to do this, and then this person wants something, and this person. However, see what you can do about being in peace with it, because there's a part of you that knows how to do this, how to go forward and backward at the same time. So we're going to Greece, and I would really like for some of you to come with me, please. And it's just very spontaneous and a little bit like amazing guidance from Spirit, and has all of its own challenges and messages and medicine for me, as well as anyone else who feels called. And for me, it's been a complete download and reconnection to ancient lives and to new ways that we're going to, as a tribe, as a community, reawaken the planet and bring these energies back to the surface. So we're going to, let me just check and see if there was anything else you really needed to know. Oh yeah, there's a few other things, because I'm feeling Mercury really wants to speak now. So alrighty. So we reviewed that you take a look at any rewords. You're going to travel backwards and forwards. These personal planets of Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter have more impact on us because they go retrograde more often. The other ones don't, and so when they go retrograde, it's not all that big deal. Here's just a little idea of how often things go, so you can see how much Mercury is constantly shifting and changing. And I think this is profound because it's showing us that our communication is coming forward to us and leading us, and then coming back to us and helping us go back and complete and discover. Because how many times have you ever said, oh, in retrospect, it's easy to see? Well, now you're in retrospect, and you're in retrospect with Mercury, your messenger of the gods. And you can fly anywhere. You can talk to anything. If the messenger of the gods, who has wings on every part practically from head to toe in different depictions, right? The idea of being able to travel anywhere, in any realm, in any time. And you can too. You just need to come to some of my classes and you'll learn it, you'll get it. And so the messenger is taking you on a retrospective tour. And you're going to get to go see. So surrender to it. Ask Mercury and Hermes to let you know right now, over the next few days. Whisper to you in silence. Listen somewhere in silence. Find some calm somewhere. This retrograde is going to go through September 15th. And the best idea during Mercury retrograde is to just be aware that you're listening a little bit more closely to your inner voice than usual. And if there's something that comes to you like, hey, you know what, I need to go back and do that or finish that or something, it's a very good time to do it. Okay? Then we'll have one more this year in December and ending right on the first of the year. So Virgo, and Virgo is Mercury, the planet. So that gives you more energy. In mythology, we talked to that. Mercury's a messenger, rules over technology, transport, media. So those are all the ways we communicate, right? So we've covered that. Also, I want you to remember that the 21st through, which started yesterday, the 23rd, the sun is starting to go into Virgo from Leo, and it meets the royal star. I did at least one show before about the royal star Regulus. Absolutely love this star, love this energy. We'll look for that for you because the energies it's the guardian. It's a royal star. There's several royal stars in this, and it's the one that's activated right now. So it's the guardian, they're guardian stars of the northern cosmic gates. So they guard the cosmic gates, and the northern gate is the highest chakras. So right now, we are being given an opportunity for the sun to shine on our highest chakras, our highest possible way of communicating. Our pineal, our third eye, our crown moves into our soul star, which is our higher self, communicating through the senses. So those of you who are in my intuition class, you're getting this energy that is amplifying all the other amazing work you're doing. So whatever you do, remember that Regulus is the guardian, and the north gate is that crown chakra. And that crown chakra is now receiving this beam of light, this activation. Okay? And isn't that cool? On the 27th, Mars is going to go into Libra. So balance your fire and your motivation. Okay, Mars is about fire and motivation, and go and make it happen and push, and sometimes not do it in the nicest way. So Libra is wonderful. It will help you balance, and you may find yourself interested in justice, equality, fairness things. I want you to watch for traps. It's too easy still. We aren't free of this old paradigm that says that that's not fair, you're not fair, and then takes you off your life path for 10 lifetimes trying to be the fighter of justice rather than being who you are. So watch for traps that you're not getting into victimhood for yourself or others. Around August 28th, Uranus is going retrograde. So at that point, we have Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto going retrograde. And so that's going to be some interesting energies. We'll talk about that next week. And Uranus, of course, is the planet of change. Okay, this is the planet of expansion and evolution and forward movement, but it is like sudden and now and insistent and powerful. All right. And so that coming, same things apply, the retrograde. What is the change you need to review, remember, receive? Okay, even. And then on the 30th, we're going to have our super full moon. I think this is our fourth and final super moon in the series in Pisces. Okay, so yes, we covered that, and we're going to do the meditation next, and you go to the shop and you can find out some of the details, but it's best to contact me because it's coming up. We're going to start on the 1st. That's the day you fly in. We're going to end on staying at the Grand Hyatt, which has a rooftop pool with this view, with the view of the Parthenon. And our last evening party dinner together will be at the Temple of Zeus, overlooking the Aegean Sea as the sun sets. So incredible sacred experiences, incredible life experiences, color experiences, healing experiences. Who knows what you will find? Okay, good. So Fantastic. So let me just check in and see if there's anything else that is important. Yes. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to close this. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to immediately start, as soon as it will let me switch over, start the meditation. So the meditation will be based on these energies we've just talked about. The Star Regulus activating our crown chakra. Mercury, Hermes, our messenger in stillness, and going into retrograde, whatever energies those are. And we are going to do, I don't want to say a healing, but we're going to do something is going to come through, I'm being told, about all of the natural disaster. They're not disaster, they're not devastation. All of the things that are happening, the hurricanes and the fires and so on. All right. So if you will join me there, I would love your love, and to send in no pity. Nobody is a victim. We're all powerful beings. We're taking the next step on our journey. This is the next step for you. When I see people step into like, oh, do you want to go to Greece in, 6 weeks? And somebody goes, wow, yes, I do. And like me, and then it'd be like, but this and that fear and this fear and that, is this right and is that right? What happens when you take a step towards where you're moving? You don't have to live in the fear anymore. You don't have to play with all these ideas of this isn't safe and I shouldn't do this and that couldn't happen. You want to find what's optimal for you. You want to listen to the inspiration of your heart. And so it's very important that we have these beautiful messengers. We're going to really give thanks to everyone, all of our messengers, the planets, the crystals, Gaia, and of course, my beloved dolphins and sacred jaguar. So when you say yes, remember the guidance is there. When you step out of your comfort zone, when you're nervous, you aren't designed to know everything. You're designed to trust. And that's why as you develop your intuition, as you develop your ability to see, sense, signs, synchronicities, guidance, to notice that there's so many messages, to notice that the messengers are there, and instead of just like, oh, that was a pretty bird, and guess what, I saw a flock of flamingos today. I didn't, but I do sometimes. Ooh, I have flamingo color on. And you have this wonderful feeling. You get the download of the medicine just seeing the beautiful thing. Last night, we had the colors realms, the rainbow realms, and come in and do amazing healings and communicate with us. And we connected with Athena, which didn't shock me because everything that's happening to me right now in my dreams and my memories and my activations, and I'm walking in ancient Greece and I'm walking in these other lives as the oracle, and I'm talking to so many of these gods and goddesses and energies, and are coming alive again to me in so many ways, that is the path. If this is going to work, if I've been given a sacred, I don't want to cry. I've been given like a sacred, it's not a quest. Is it a quest? It's like, I don't want to say it's the labors of Hercules, but I've been given a sacred request. And it is to bring a sacred group to walk the sacred way. That's what they keep showing me, is our feet walking together. I don't know if we're holding hands, but we're walking together up the sacred way. It's actually called that in Delphi, where the oracle was, where I lived, where you probably lived, where many people went. That was the center of the world. That was the number one place to trust that we could listen to messages from the gods and from the other realms and from nature. And so this culture, and not just that culture, cultures all over the world believed this, understood this, lived this way. And yet still the average person didn't have a connection to all of their guides every day. It was the time of much lower vibration than we have access to now. And what we connect to are the people who were able to raise their consciousness, connect to the gods, speak to them, write their stories, interpret the messages that were coming through the land or the nature or the weather, and to advise. And all of the political and powerful people consulted the oracle. If we knew that now, if we were like, well, all the presidents of all the countries of the world consult the oracle at Delphi, of course, and their country sends treasures and gifts there to keep in favor, to thank it, to say, please keep us informed of any important messages for our country's well-being. And they listened to it, but then they had to interpret it. It came through, but it was sometimes a little cryptic for the average person. But it wasn't only the politicians and the kings and so on that went to receive the messages from the oracle. Every single person could. Every person, average, common person, whatever you want to call them, could go to Delphi, could walk the sacred way, could bring their gift. So maybe their gift wasn't a giant sphinx carved out of ivory or, a huge chest of gold. It was, they brought whatever it was they had. And so to me, I'm just starting to understand, and there's a realization happening to me right now, that what I've been teaching for a very long time, what I've been studying for almost 35, 40 years, what I've been teaching for almost that long is step by step. I've been revealing, understanding what's underneath this. How is this made? What is this made from? How can I get clearer communication? What does this mean to me? How can I let go of this? I'm, ready for something bigger, but I don't even understand what that means. All of those have led you on your own sacred way, onto spirit, onto the treasury of your soul. And that moment is so profound that there's so much coming through. We're being called. The moment is rushing towards us. It might run us over if we don't get ready. We need to open our arms. Things are starting to speed up. Things are coming towards us. We're opening our arms like this. We're saying, where, when, I want. And yet we're not looking up to see what's coming at us. And they're saying it's almost like comets. They're coming at you. This is the moment. The skies are going to clear. Things are going to rise. But we need you. We need people. We need the sacred ones who can tap in. Like in a time of ancient Greece or ancient Egypt, even ancient Maya or Peru, all of these places around the planet had deep unconscious levels. So after the falls and the floods and that whole idea that we were separated from wisdom and knowledge, from who we were, and from being able to connect from our hearts. We didn't know who we were. And so it was the ones like Socrates and Plato and Thoth and Hermes and all of these ones that sat and listened, that came because their purpose was to be, out of all the people on the planet, one of the few who could already see, sense, and hear that there was more, that the world was alive, the tree was alive, that there was an essence, a personality, a being in it, a God in it, that the goddess essence that came from the earth that birthed our bodies was more than just this rock, that it lived and breathed and emanated love, and that there was wisdom, and that there was geometry, and that there was math, and that there were all these codes everywhere that when you started to see them formed a pattern, and then the pattern became form and us and life. And these were the ones, they were the healers or the mothers or the priests, the ones that were allowed to sit, maybe the monks. Priest kings or queens often had access to all of the sacred wisdom. The philosophers that would stand around the agora in ancient Athens or any other ancient place, the gathering place, the marketplace, to exchange ideas. The artists and philosophers that would gather at French cafes. We have throughout time the wise ones. And the wise ones are you. The ones that already came with certain wisdoms unlocked that you can access. You know you can. They've come and they've gone. Perhaps you've developed them. You feel or sense one. The consistency and the expansive, like more, and the consistent flow and the strength of the signal. These are the things that must happen, yet they can't happen until the planet has released, along with everyone on it, those energies of bondage. The bondage that our minds have been in, that our hearts have been in, that our souls have been in. The bondage that's carried throughout our soul in all these different lives. Lives that had torture and were burned at the stake or were outcast. Lives that were brokenhearted. Lives that you realized later that you weren't a good person. You didn't do good things. Maybe you thought they were good at the time. These lives are not things like trophies. These are living, breathing parts of you. And those living, breathing parts of you have incredible amounts of power. They have wisdom, they have experience, and they have the wounds. And the wounds aren't the things. That is all that you could connect to. Everyone is coming out of the wound era. Being in the pain, being in the dark, being in the lack, being in the blame, being in that place where everything is defined by fear, pain, and the past. This is no longer where you are. This is no longer where you're going. Yet it is in the cells. It is in the mind. It is what you see. You see, you feel everything like a filter, like a pair of glasses that has a particular color. For you to walk maybe 2 minutes, 2 miles, or 2,000 miles from your home and find a place where you take 3 minutes, breathe the sacred air, feel your body and see it as sacred. Feel the colors around it. Allow the auras to glow. Maybe you can see mine right now. It's all green. As you connect in a sacred way, everything shifts. It's no longer about the grid of pain, the stories of lack, injustice, unfairness, loss. It isn't about what you fear anymore. That is an outdated coat you don't have to wear or carry or keep or own anymore. This is a time to realize that all places on the planet hold magic and mysteries, medicine and answers. And when you go together and your hearts join and you listen to your heart and your heart says it's time, whether it says to go kiss a dolphin in the Mayan Riviera, to go walk the ancient sacred way and swim in the Aegean Seas in Greece, whether it's to go to ancient Egypt, the stone circles in England and Ireland and Scotland, to climb Peru and sit in Machu Picchu, or perhaps to go to a stone wall of beauty down the road from you. Find the place that's speaking to you. But most of all, come together now. Come together in sacred groups. Walk the way together. See your feet. There are sacred sisters. There are sacred brothers. There are sacred guides that are here waiting to walk with you. You don't know what's there because it has been blocked from you. Now you can walk, collect those energies from the land, from when you walked there in another time. If you feel now that this is the moment for you to remember that you are a channel, that you are clairvoyant, that you have all kinds of 360 senses, that at some point or another they're ready to develop or be rewired, rebooted, and upgraded and remembered. These are coming online now, and it's best to have your manual to understand who you are, how to handle when energy comes in, when you feel something, when you sense something, when it triggers a thought or a memory. What does it mean? Do I sit and receive, or do I protect myself? The ancient guides are wisdom holders, and they embody buildings or gods or statues or symbols or places or practices or words or chants. Every frequency from color to symbols all carry messages. And it could be that Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, Venus in Greece, she embodies pure love. There isn't conditions, there isn't limits. It's pure. Have you ever felt pure love? What if you touched that now? What if it brought a memory to a cell or a part of your DNA or something encoded into your higher chakras? And then you felt this flood of milky, satin white, loving light energy. Or maybe you felt wrapped in the softest, most wonderful blanket, and you just melted into it and became pure love. When you remember who you were, you might remember, oh, I was an oracle. I was twice that I know of. Oh, I know I attended one of the temples of Athena. I work with her in this life a lot. And maybe you were a priest, a priestess, an artist, a philosopher. Maybe you were one of the Olympian athletes. Maybe you were an artist or an artisan or a cook or a chef. Maybe you were keeper of the treasury. Maybe you guarded the cave of Pan where the original oracle was. Maybe you were a goat herder and you lived in the hills and you spoke to the hills and the sun, and you hardly spoke a word to another person your whole life, and it holds so much beauty. You understood the frequencies of nature. You spoke to all of the land and all of the beings. You had peace, better than a nun, freedom and independence to think and be who you were, and so many beings to connect to you. Somebody here has this life. I'm seeing it so vividly. So when you connect to other lives or other times, when you feel called to go to the Red Rocks in Sedona or New Mexico, I live there. Wow, that's a sacred place. Maybe you're called to Taos Pueblo or to the rivers or to some of the sacred Native American sites in Arizona. Maybe you're called to any of these places, to Easter Island. Wow. And these places held these energies because of the land, the people who were there, and all of the different energies. Because most of these ancient stones, we don't know how they did it. We don't know how they carved it. We don't know how they picked it up. We don't know how they carried it. 30 tons or more for one stone. This is the wisdom that's waiting for us. Technology, the way we see it, is nothing compared to the technology of the ancients. They understood energy and how to move it, and they worked together with the elements of the stone and the earth. What if you simply asked the 30-ton stone to move itself over there, and you pictured it? You drew a beautiful picture in your mind. You held that space, you saw it holding that space, and then it was like a GPS, and the stone said, yes, I'll do that. And the air elements came along, and whatever other guides had to come, and it floated the stone right over, placed it in place. What if these cone-shaped tools they see a lot of the ancients holding were tools that manipulated energy and levitated things? What if you were a gardener? One of my clients had this memory in a activation at the top of a pyramid in the Mayan jungle, where we went back to Atlantis, where he was a gardener. And he's a gardener now. He has a landscape company. But he got to experience what it was like to be a gardener in Atlantis. The information he downloaded, the memory. You might simply feel the energies of a place as fresh and new, a new start, like Shirley Valentine, this wonderful movie, or going back to the cradle of civilization when, we began with the higher thoughts of we could create something that has beauty, rhythm. It's the chaos now that we're experiencing. That's not only what we've created, that no longer follows a lot of these ancient cultures or these sacred ways that had a rhythm with nature and cycles and understood and had these sacred temples to particular gods or goddesses, not because they were superstitious and they were like, oh no, please don't hurt me. That's like ridiculous. That's our low conscious mind interpreting someone else's culture. However, no, this is a heightened mind that says, oh, if I create a way for us to communicate, will you, or that entity or energy, like Thoth did a lot, come to civilizations over and over and bring wisdom to accelerate the civilization forward. So when you remember who you were, when you go to a sacred place, when you go especially with a group like this group going to Greece, there is another level of purpose. And I'm seeing personally more and more this is interesting. It's like I'm channeling and then I talk and then I channel and I talk. So we're doing a little dance here, aren't we? We are meant to co-create with the other lives in our soul. We are meant to help to free those other lives in our soul. And we're meant to evolve all of the lives in our soul. And this is our purpose in this life. You have your own agenda that's led to this moment, living through the patterns and the relationships and the different things you've experienced. And it's like the finishing line of all of these many, 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 many centuries of darkness and pain. And now there's a bit of a blank slate, not completely blank slate in front of us. So as you are completing, you are now standing inside of an unknown space with potential beyond anything you can imagine. And we need the tribe. We need the communities of sacred, heart-centered, loving intentions to come together, to hold hands, to hug, to touch stones, to sit in sacred circle and places, to swim in the seas and be washed with the ancient codes of the gods and goddesses and be rejuvenated and renewed. And remember that we have all these lives in our soul, and it isn't because we all have to drag around a bunch of pain anymore. It's because they're all parts that are ready to become their next life as well. So when you come on the sacred circle with me or anywhere you go, walk with intention and know that your soul had an appointment. Your soul had this goal of bringing you here now and taking you to some of these sacred places. I don't think I've ever been anywhere that my soul called me to, even if it didn't turn out the way I thought, that I didn't receive some kind of complete upgrade, transformation, healing, new information, new direction, new friendship. There's so much out there. Thank you. That was interesting. All right. I will see you in a moment. That was a beautiful message. Thank you. I hope you will reach out to me if you want to go to Greece. Or come here. Kiss the dolphins.